Practice? Practice? We talking about practice, not a game. Not a game. But we are talking about the franchise player because he's been on the field. And we are talking about the New York Jets practice, breaking down what we've seen and kind of drawing some conclusions. Are we ready to draw? All right. You got your crowns at home? Boy Green, James Wudi. Live right now.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome to this day's episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. All right, it is James Wudi right here. We got Boy Green right here. And for the second consecutive episode, we are having a discussion after my New York Knicks doing some work, shocking the world. All right. Jalen Brunson, 1 foot. The boy got 1 foot. All right. This don't match my outfit, so I'm going to have to put it back down. But okay. the boy on 1 foot, shocking the world. We lost OG. We'll see what's going on. But the Knicks are making me so happy. I was nervous. I was getting flashbacks. My cousin texted me, a prayer, dear Lord, please, whatever happened to Brunson, have it happen to me. And I was saying, Cuzzo, you have no idea. I was trying to tear my own ACL in September, my own Achilles. My apologies. Back in September, trying to, hey, Lord, I tore mine up. Please heal Aaron's. And I didn't work then, but I guess his prayers were answered last night because he did come back and still had a fantastic game. So Knicks are on the rise. Boy Green, how you doing today?
Yeah, let me. I don't know how clear this will be. Let me try that.
Oh,
okay. This little ring around my necklace says MVP, baby. Jalen Brunson, 5th in the MVP voting. Maybe should have been a little higher, but that's neither here nor there. Nick's taking care of business, a very, Willis Reed style. Come back out. The Madison Square Garden crowd goes crazy. Atmosphere electric as he comes back. And OG Anunoby goes down too. So a lot of injury stuff to monitor for the Knicks. But the fact of the matter is up 2 squat. Head over to Indiana, can take care of business. It might be able to finish the job right there. Bang, could do it. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's exciting time for the New York Knicks. Way to go, Knickerbockers.
Yes. But it is also exciting times for the New York Jets, which is why I've just been so happy. The Rangers too. Sure. Yeah. Oh my Lord, being a New York sports fan right now. There's been so many lows, but right now, call me Aaron after that ayahuasca hits because I'm feeling high. Right now. All right, the Knicks balling, the Rangers balling, or pucking, whatever you want to say. The Jets. Oh, I don't know, but the Jets.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're here to talk about the New York Jets. I've been loving what I've been seeing. Just these little clips just get me. They get me riled up.
And for good reason. I will tell you, our original plan was to do some schedule action today because the schedule was supposed to come out today. but the NFL calling a little audible at the line of scrimmage. It actually will be next Wednesday, is from what we're hearing. So we will have one more juicy schedule, prognostication, whatever on Tuesday. We might even have a game to react to because the NFL releases some of its games early. So we might even know one of the Jets games early, like the London game. They normally leak those out early, and I have a strong feeling the Jets are going to have a London game. So we might have a little bit of more meat on that bow. We'll discuss that coming up on Tuesday. But I thought a great pivot. So putting the schedule thing aside, we're going to get plenty of schedule, and I love the schedule. But there's a lot of videos. There's a lot of practice. We talk about practice. All kinds of little juicy tidbits are coming out on insiders saying, oh, I'm hearing good things about this player, that player. So why not overreact to everything that we're hearing? Because I saw plenty of comments in my tweets. Yeah, let's really try to make a reaction to no defense and no pads. You're an idiot, Paul. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we make an entire show out of it? You people were complaining. I was just sending out tweets asking questions. Like there was one where Tyler Conklin did this pirouette ballet move and he caught a touchdown. I'm like, oh, are we not giving Tyler Conklin enough credit? How many touchdowns do you think he'll have this year? People were going, overreactionary. I'm like, overreactionary to what? I asked a question. What are you talking about? So I said, you know what? The only thing to do when you're catching that kind of heat on social media is to embrace it and make an entire episode about it. So here we are.
Yes, absolutely. Preheat that oven with all that heat on social media. All right, we about to cook up something nice. And I don't have a ring, but I can overreact with the best of them. So we about to talk, we about to react, overreact, and Tyler Conklin, I think that's a good place to start.
Okay, sure.
Place to start because Brock Bowers is somebody that has been discussed to some ad nauseum,
quite,
but to others not enough. They even had a group, right? They were called Bowers Boys.
That's right.
A lot of people were looking forward to that possibility, and I have said time and time again, I would have welcomed Brock with open arms.
Sure. Yeah.
Would have been a fantastic draft pick. But if you recall, my tiers, right? It was Brock or get an offensive tackle and trade down, get a wide receiver, which is what took place. So your boy is happy. All of that conversation had nothing, dare I repeat, nothing to do with the ability of Tyler Conklin. I'm a huge Tyler Conklin fan. I believe Boy Green is as well.
Sure, yeah. A fellow bearded guy. Yeah, how could I not love him? Yeah.
Is that the prerequisite? It's just
he's a bearded enthusiast. We both have tattoos. He's been on the show. I mean, there's a lot of seeds there.
All right. Anybody can grow a beard. My aunt has a beard. I don't know if you friends with my aunt. But anyway, Tyler Conklin. I think he is a really good tight end. And I don't mean that, some people like Boy Green, we had a conversation, really good. Like what? No, like really good is it's not bad. It's really good. Like could be fantasy relevant. That's actually how I like to put it. Fantasy relevant, because your average fantasy league, what is there? 12 teams, 14 teams, 10 teams?
Probably the average is between 10 and 12, I would imagine.
I would say that. I would even go as far as say 10 to 14. But yeah, all right, we'll go with
14's a little rich. I think that's more advanced for people. I think for someone that's been doing fantasy for a long time, I would say the common people, I like having 12. I think that's a good challenge. 10's a little easier because of your rosters are deeper and stuff, and you can go to free agency and things. We're getting in the weeds, but the common thing I would say is in standard fantasy, no craziness. It's between 8 and 10 teams, 8 and 12, somewhere in that range.
Got you. So we'll say. So I'll say. So 12 is a number we both said a few times.
Yeah.
So fantasy relevant, that means that if he's not in the top 12, he's in the top 16, because a lot of people carry, multiple tight ends.
Sure.
And that's top 16. That's the top. That's really good. That's what I'm saying. That I felt like Tyler Conklin was there last year. He was on every fantasy team that I had last year. Now with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, I think he is going to be even better this year. I think he will be more fantasy relevant. This is an offense.
What a hot take.
Is that a hot take? Is that hot?
No, it's not. Tyler Conklin will be more fantasy relevant this year than last year. Yeah, God, I hope so. He had 0 touchdowns last year.
Whoa, but he had a lot of catches and yards. What do you mean? He was fantasy relevant last year, and to play devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
Zach, all nervous. Oh my God, let me just find my tight end. Right, Rodgers will have way more options, right? And Rodgers isn't going to just zero in on Conklin like Zach was, pretty much his whole career. So there is reason to actually suspect that there might be a dip in Conklin's yardage, but I am more of the subscriber to the belief that Tyler Conklin, we want to call Malachi Corley the Yak King. He has yet to play in the NFL. Conklin is a yak monster in his own right, and I think he'll do pretty well for the Jets this year.
Yeah, one of the tweets I sent out, one of the clips, because the Jets sent out a couple of clips of Conklin catching passes from Aaron Rodgers, and one of the questions I asked out there in the universe is Tyler Conklin criminally underrated by the Jets fan base, and that can feed into the Brock Bowers conversation. Aaron Schatz, who works for ESPN, listed the biggest need remaining for every team in the NFL. And for the Jets, I think this article came out this morning. Tight end was the biggest need, according to Aaron Schatz, for the New York Jets, saying Tyler Conklin is either average or below average, and he used all these advanced analytical numbers of DVOA and other numbers of like he has been. I should pull it up so I can read them verbatim, but basically he's been. Yeah, okay, you know what? Let me just pull it up because I keep talking about it, and let me read exactly. Yeah, here it is. It's a front article on ESPN. Here it is, okay? This is it. The biggest roster hole for the Jets is at tight end. Here was the quote. The Jets have a pretty steady and deep roster across the board, the big issue being the lack of a star at tight end. Tyler Conklin, who signed with the Jets from the Vikings in 2022, hasn't had a positive receiving DVOA in his first 6 NFL seasons and ranks 43rd among qualifying tight ends the past 2 years. That is his take on old Tyler Conklin, saying he's not very good, basically, is what his analytics say. I would say this. Despite everyone saying that, there was a couple NFL.com said the Jets' biggest need is tight end. Bleacher Report said the biggest void is at tight end, and now we have Aaron Schatz here. So basically every major NFL media network all says the same thing, that's tight end. And I agree with you. Brock Bowers would have been cool. He would have been interesting, would have been fun, because you would have, with a first-round pick and that sort of investment, top 10, top 11, however it would have worked, that would have been a guy that gets plenty of opportunities to prove himself and to catch passes. But now that you didn't get him, you take a step back and reevaluate the tight end room. I do believe he's criminally underrated by Jet fans. I even had someone say they believe he's overrated by Jet fans. And I said, I don't understand how that's possible, because the ratings that I've heard are people going, he's average, he's mid, he's whatever. I think Tyler Conklin, to use your fantasy perspective, has a chance to be a top 10 tight end this year, statistically speaking. I think that's what he has. I believe he will be rostered. I don't believe he's going to be one of the first tight ends off the board, but I think in most 10, 12-team leagues, he will be rostered. He will be on someone's team, and he's intriguing. Now, again, there's only upside from a touchdown perspective because, again, he had 0 last year. And part of that equation, you have to say, wow, the quarterback play friggin' sucked last year, which certainly didn't help Conklin. But the fact of the matter is, I believe Conklin will be better. I do believe he's criminally underrated. And I think someone set the number at 5.5. So I'll throw that to you. I think it was Southern Rich. So shout out to him on social media. His over-under for Tyler Conklin touchdowns this year is 5.5. Would you take the over-under on that?
It's so funny. 2 seconds before you said that number, I was listening to you speak, and I came up with a number in my head of, you know what? I think this is the number of touchdowns that Tyler Conklin is going to get. Let me just say 1 second that Aaron Schatz, my sir, you have Schatz the bed with that horrible opinion, that horrible take. All right, there is absolutely no hole in this tight end, and I cannot believe I said those words like that. But there is no hole in the tight end room for the New York Jets. All right, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert. All right, who I know, Boyd Green, he needs to see,
I do. I think everyone does. Okay, here we go.
Not everyone, not James Wudi, not the Woodyology honor roll students, not us, because we know what Rupp can bring to the table.
Here are your stats. Here's his stats.
I don't care about his stats. He hasn't been on the field. He's
as a rookie. One catch,
behind veteran
8
leadership.
Yards.
Literally, the
last
stats
year,
do not
16
matter.
catches, 150 yards. I mean, it is non-existent. He has done nothing. Zip and pip.
He is not nothing. He is not nothing.
No, he's done nothing is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's nothing, but he's done nothing. Zip and pip.
I mean, what are you going to do? CJ Uzomah, did Ruckert offer $15 million to 2 veteran tight ends and then draft him in the 3rd round? There's no reason. There's no reason to fault the boy just because Joe Douglas was literally throwing shit at the wall and everything stuck. So now he's like, oh, damn, I got a whole bunch of tight ends and they don't know what to do. That's not Ruckert's fault. I am very, very confident in Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert. I would actually think that's one of the strongest rooms in the Jets roster. I'm saying that. I'm saying it.
That's
especially on offense. I cannot think of a position other than quarterback. I'm thinking quarterback, tight end. I'm feeling the best at.
Oh, come on, man.
Yes.
Okay, here's one off the top. Wide receiver. Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and Malachi Corley. You're feeling better about tight end than that room?
Oh, my God. It is so refreshing to hear somebody say something positive about the wide receiver room when people – I got somebody not to be named but is a part of this show talking about we need OBJ. Other people
we'll get into him.
Boyd.
We'll get into that room. But I don't know what you drank before you came on. It sounds great. Send me some. That you feel this confident in the tight end room is like alarming. Because Jeremy Ruckert has shown nothing so far. So we don't know. To me, he's a mystery. I have no idea what he is. I'm like, no, I have no feeling. 0, which is why I was willing to upgrade because I'm like, well, I don't know what he is. I just know he's halfway through his rookie deal. That's all I know. And Tyler Conklin is set to be a free agent. Zach Kuntz is going to be a free agent. And who's the other one I'm missing? Kenny Yeboah. He's set to be a free agent. That's all I do know. So again, you're just drinking too much Kool-Aid on the tight end room. I love Conklin, but you're still drinking too much Kool-Aid. That you feel great about the position? How? Based on what? What?
What do you? Stats clearly do not tell the whole story because everybody's stats.
Okay, give me the other chapter. If you don't like that page in the story, give me another page. What do you make me feel better without stats? Give me another.
We're talking about film ability. What they can bring to the table. That's what I'm saying. The few times that Ruckert actually got on the field, he was making highlight catches. But that's what happens when you play 5 passing snaps per game. All right. Now that he has more playing time, just wait and see things play out. But to answer your question,
where over under 5.5.
3 minutes have elapsed since you asked the question.
Okay, over under 5.5.
Over. Give me Conklin. 7 Tyler Conklin touchdowns. 7. 1.
That's a good number.
4, 5, 6, 7.
The Jets have a very deep offense, so this is the complicated part of this that, there's a lot of mouths to feed and there's a lot of creative ways to, I imagine there's going to be a huge uptick, obviously a surge in touchdowns this year. I'm right on the fence. I'm probably over 2, but like at 6. But again, it could be, that's a sweet spot. That's a good number that Southern Rich threw out there into the universe. 5.5 is a very juicy number. So, shout out to Conklin.
I think it starts with how many touchdowns you think Aaron Rodgers is going to have.
Okay, let's do that number real quick. How many touchdowns do you think he's going to have?
I'm going with 38.
Holy Nike, sign me up for 38. My number was a little closer to, it's the all-time number for the Jets, which I believe is 31 is Fitzpatrick. I'm pretty sure that is our number. So that's my over-under is kind of set there, and I think he's just over that. I think he's in the 32, 33 range, but shoot, give me that. That's phenomenal. And then, so let's go to your number, 38, 32, 33, whatever. Then you start divvying those up between Garrett, Mike Williams, Lazard, Conklin, Brees Hall, who's going to be a receiver out of the backfield. He's got to be factored in. That's like a sneaky one you don't think about. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ruckert's going to get his first TD this year.
He hasn't gotten a touchdown yet. Right.
He hasn't been on the field. Boy, Green. Oh my Lord.
So, can I ask you a quick question? Quick follow-up on Jeremy Ruckert.
All right.
So I probably already know your answer, but I'll ask anyway. Do you believe that the reason Jeremy Ruckert hasn't been on the field more is because he's been sabotaged by the coaching staff? Or maybe, just maybe, the Jets coaching staff has been like, he's not ready, or he's injured, or there's some other reason why they didn't bring him on the field. Like, it's not like, wow, this guy is a dynamic superstar, but we're just going to keep him on the bench for shits and giggles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's Jeremy. Like, if you just go, well, it's a coaching staff, they didn't play him, but why didn't they play him? Let's ask that question. Oh, because Jeremy Ruckert isn't what we thought he was? Oh, maybe.
Is that what you think? So let me not.
I'm undetermined. I don't know. The offensive coaching staff sucks. Yep, we're all on board there. Yes, they do. So we're all on the same page. So it could certainly be the coaching staff. But
no, I think it's the value of the proposition. You know, you paid a lot of money to these guys, to CJ Uzomah. Why was CJ Uzomah still on the field? Like there were times where he was out snapping Conklin, and there was never a time where he was out producing Conklin. I think money was talking.
Okay. And
now that's kind of been removed from the equation to an extent, we're going to see playing time open up.
Hey, by the way, since we're on the tight end room, real quick, last one here. Jeremy Ruckert haircut, a little buy or sell. He's kind of rocking the mohawk, as I saw in the little Jets video clips they sent out. Buy or sell on the I had a phase. It was in high school for high school football. We all did the Mohawks thing. It was a thing, we did it. It wasn't the one that gave me vertical presence. Probably should have leaned in that direction to help with the height issue, but it was one of those, shave the head, flat mohawk on the top. Jeremy Ruckert has adopted that haircut. Buy or sell?
I'm gonna have to sell. I don't want to, people thinking I'm out here like my last name is, Wudi -Ruckert. I'm just I just like talent where it is. As for the Mohawk, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Mohawk.
Okay.
But hey, to each their own.
I guess so. All right, let me feed you another one. Again, what we're trying to do here, everybody, welcome to Boy Green Meets Wudi. If you're just joining us or just hopping in, we have over 300 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Instagram, the James Wudi, and also on Twitter as well, @BoyGreen25. There's been, since practices have started, again, the Jets started meeting around a little less than a month ago. They started meeting for, voluntary workouts and workouts in the gym and, rookie minicamp. There's been a bunch of stuff kind of mixed in, and the Jets have been sending out some stuff, some video clips. The insiders that have been around the team have said, ooh, I've heard good things about this player, that player. I'm about to get to one of those players that apparently an insider's a little high on, that maybe us on the outside went, whoa, okay, didn't hear that. Interesting. So we're kind of playing around with some of that and overreacting. Here's one that I want to throw at you. This was from Rich Cimini, okay, and I want to throw this one out. Shout out to Connor of New York Flight Jets Talk. He had a Rich Cimini on his show, and at the end of the show, by the way, this is a great. Have you ever heard of the term teach tape, Wudi? Have you ever heard of that term?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so a thing we call in football is teach tape. So let's say in high school football, we're meeting on a Sunday after a game on Friday, and we're watching film, and I light up Wudi. Like, it just shows I freaking blow your socks off. And on film, the coach will stop the tape and go, hey, everybody, let's pay attention. Here's some teach tape here. Look at Paul. Look at the profile. Look how he lit this dude up. This is how we want everybody in the room to do it. So there's this thing that they call teach tape. And there's teach tape I want to do. I want to give a shout out to Connor of, again, New York Flight Jets Talk. He's a young buck. But it's teach tape that I'm going to show other interviewers in the future, something Connor did very well that every interviewer should do. At the end of an interview, you should say, is there anything else that we didn't get to that we should have got to? That's essentially what Connor asked Rich Cimini. Is there any other nuggets you'd like to share? Because sometimes, despite all your questions, you may just have missed something, and there's something the insider just wants to get off his chest or just pops up in his brain. So again, great teach tape here. He asked Rich Cimini that question, and Rich Cimini said, actually, actually, there is one thing I want to share. He name dropped wide receiver Jason Brownlee as a guy to watch out for. Here's what he said. Kind of my dark horse guy is Jason Brownlee, who made the team last year. I've been hearing good things about him, so you might see a nice jump from him. Rich Simi to Connor on New York Flight Jets Talk, another great YouTube channel talking all things New York Jets. So Jason Brownlee hype, which, by the way, we're talking about this wide receiving core. It seemed to me, I won't try to put words in other people's mouths, it seemed like a foregone conclusion that Jason Brownlee was not making this roster as currently constructed. You have Malachi Corley, you have Mike Williams, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Allen Lazard, you have Xavier Gibson, and you start going through, you're like, holy crap, where would Brownlee even fit? However, there is some hubbub, there's some hype around him. So you buying or selling the Jason Brownlee hype that he is this dark horse to watch and he's been impressing behind the scenes? Are you buying that stock in Jason Brownlee right now?
I mean, stock to make the team. Hell
yeah. I would say based on that intel, that he's looking great. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Stock to, next year have Boy Green do a Google search and have stats that, he will respect. I can't buy all that, but I'm the only person, perhaps on the planet, that has been pretty comfortable with the wide receiver room after that sandwich convinced Mike Williams to be a New York Jet. I was perfectly fine. Didn't even need one in the draft. Just thought it'd be cool to have. And now Corley's here. Jason Brownlee is a big reason why. I mean, last year, it's so crazy who the Jets fan base chooses to be like, oh, I can't believe you don't believe in this guy, who like has literally shown nothing, right? And then for someone like Brownlee, who was a star of the preseason, they're like, oh, we need a receiver. We need, give me every receiver on the planet. People talking about DJ Chark, get out of here with that. Get out of here. Brownlee was solid. He scored a touchdown last year when he actually saw the field. I'm not saying that Brownlee is, fantasy relevant. I'm not saying that by any means, but there's a reason why he lit up preseason last year. There's a reason. People have just forgotten it.
Let me call a quick timeout. He did not. No. If you look at the preseason stats, he actually did nothing. The thing that I would like to highlight is he lit up training camp. He did a one-handed catch in training camp and showed training camp highlights. It didn't transition to the preseason, and I could double check the numbers, but I'm wow, that came from like the gods. What was that? Anywho, some weird sound here in the radio studio. But like, if I remember correctly, he didn't do dick in the preseason. That the only thing he did was some of the training camp highlights, which again grazed the surface of, whoa, did the Jets find another crazy UDFA? We hear about it all the time on defense with Bryce Huff and Tony Adams and all these guys. Whoa, did a blind squirrel find a nut on offense? And then we haven't heard anything from Brownlee. So the only clarification I want to give is he didn't do anything in preseason, with all due respect. He did a few things in training camp.
Targets and yards for the preseason.
Say that one more time.
He led the team in targets and yards, I believe.
What was those stats?
What do you mean? He's supposed to average 100 yards and
as soon
what are you
as
talking about?
You give me a stat and I poke it in the belly button, do the Pillsbury Doughboy, you just come out with all the yards. Like he led the team in targets and yards. I'm like, all right, what were they? And I poke you in the belly button, you're like, why does that even matter? Like, come on.
What do you mean? So being number one in something doesn't matter. Like he was the best among his peers. No, it doesn't matter.
Look, I've got a ring around my neck that says MVP. No one asked me how many people were in the competition to get this first place. Okay, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That like it denigrates it a little bit. When I just say first place, you're like, oh wow, that's fairly impressive, very interesting. But then when you start digging a little bit more in there, it's not as impressive. So are you buying or selling the hype on Jason Brownlee?
I already said I will buy that he will make the roster. I'm not buying that like he is about to be an integral part of the New York Jets offense this year. Can't buy that.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this, unfortunately. And the hope that he has is Aaron Rodgers, of course, because while Jason Brownlee didn't really do anything statistically remarkable last year, he didn't have Aaron Rodgers or a capable quarterback. Don't forget Aaron Rodgers. He didn't have a capable quarterback last year. So we didn't really get to unlock that potential. But the problem is when you start playing the wide receiver game, again, off the top of my head, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Malachi Corley, Alan Lazard. Is Irv Charles making it as that special teamer? I don't know. I actually personally don't think so. I think actually Isaiah Oliver, who plays on the defense, I think he will be that replacement Justin Hardy gunner. But I've heard a lot about Irv Charles. But that's a question to throw him into the mix and then go even deeper. There's a bunch of names like X, Xavier Gibson, and a bunch of other young guys with schematic things like Malik Taylor and other things. I don't think those guys are quite necessarily making the roster. They keep it 5, they keep it 6, they go into 7. Once you start playing the game, and Jason Brownlee, who didn't really contribute from a special teams perspective, which gives the edge to X, that's where I start going, boy, where's it all coming from? Who's out? Like, okay, Randall Cobb's out. He's no longer on the team, but you've added Malachi Corley and Mike Williams. Those guys are both obviously making the roster. Just when you start playing the numbers game, it seems hard to believe. I think they would love to bring him back on the practice squad, and that could be something. And then you'd have to hope for a series of injuries or something to really have a place. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. I hope all this Rich Cimini stuff is right.
There are not 6 that are better than Brownlee.
Say that
even if you say he's number 6, they're keeping 6 receivers. And
okay,
he's
you believe he's 6?
5 or 6. He's 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see. That should be interesting. All right. Let's stay in the wide receiver room. This is a guy that you've been very on. There's no doubt about it. It is the $44 million man, Alan Lazard. There have been reports this offseason from both ESPN and The Athletic that the Jets attempted to trade him to other teams. They included him in offers to other teams, and I can only imagine the other teams went, thanks, but no thanks. So they attempted to try to ship him off. That did not work. He's owed a $10 million guaranteed base salary this season, so he's here no matter what, outside of them reattempting those talks at some point later in the offseason and an injury happens. It sounds like Lazard's going to be here. And there was a mini 15-second clip of Rodgers finding Alan Lazard on this route, and he runs into the end zone as a red zone drill, and he kind of gives a Michael Jordan shoulder shrug to the camera. And it just got me thinking when I tweeted out the clip, like, how many touchdowns for Lazard this year? Does he rekindle the flame? Like, Lazard was terrible last year. Absolutely god awful. His attitude was awful. The statistics were awful. He was healthy scratch at the end of the year. The coach called him out publicly. Like, it looked bad. But there was also a lot of bad, and that he could have just simply kind of, we say all the time that you're a product of your environment. And if your environment's great, it's easier to be positive and happy and go lucky and walking around. When the atmosphere is shit and you're walking around, it's very easy to kind of sink into that and get negative and pessimistic. And Lazard came here for Rodgers, and Rodgers goes out immediately. He's like, oh boy. So while there's a lot I don't like about Lazard and quitting on the team, it felt like a lot of that to me, and the deflecting of blame, all that really bothered me. But inevitably, it seems like there's a chance for him to get back with Rodgers because it can't get any worse. The hype, the hubbub, Alan Lazard, you've been on this man higher than anyone else, higher than Alan Lazard's mama, for God's sakes. And now we're here again, where the clip was reshared, and there was a lot of negative when I shared that clip. A lot of people said 0 touchdowns and made jokes. When I said how many touchdowns is he going to have, they said 0, and they were, throwing shade at the young man. But Alan Lazard, where do you stand on him after a couple of 15-second clips are out there in the universe?
Well, thank you. I really need this time to clarify because, it's not like, I got a Lazard jersey of any kind. I'm not like Lazard's not even like in my top 20 of favorite Jets who made the 53-man roster last year. But I've really only seen like Kenny Golladay is like the only example I can think of right now of somebody who was clearly something else, went to a different team in free agency, and was like just not even close. Like the Monstars took his talent, like cannot play the sport anymore. Like that just doesn't happen like that unless of age, right? Age can make people fall off the cliff, and of course injury, which to our knowledge, Lazard didn't have any major injuries. So that's where my defense comes from. It's just I have a hard time believing that he just suddenly cannot play the game of football.
Okay.
It makes much more sense what you just said, which was shocking to me because I thought you were only able to analyze via Google, but you do understand that there is a human element to this sport that involves human beings and that sometimes situations don't go your way. So with Alan Lazard, I do think, I mean, obviously he's going to be a part of the roster. I think he will be a factor. I think Aaron likes him. Him being a good run blocker and 6'5" certainly does not hurt, being on the field. Now, of course, if he's going to keep holding, then that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt.
I'm going to be honest. That was so deflating. So not only did he suck last year, like, okay, maybe you can even take that he doesn't live up to the hype. But on all these plays, like the crackback of the great Garrett Wilson play, and we see the flag, and I'm like, you've got to be friggin' kidding me. The completely unnecessary blindside block on a Garrett Wilson big play brings it back, and then it stalls the entire drive, and I'm just like, you son of a... Like, even if you did nothing, you'd be a net negative. But he was worse, a net zero. He went to net negative, and it's like, oh, God. So many times last year, the worst penalty at the worst time. And like, that's like, again, like it's one thing being bad, but being so bad that you're taking away positive plays that other people are doing. Was he just jealous? If I'm not going to get a catch, no one's going to get a catch. Like, what a bastard.
Well, I think Uzama was doing that more than
That's
Lazard.
true. That Raiders play, touchdown, Jets. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm gonna have to say Uzama was the biggest culprit there. But yeah, Lazard had his moments. But yeah, I think with Aaron, if you go back to the interviews he had back then, he said, "Hey, I'm excited to play with my guy." Like before Aaron was even on there, and was even that trade happened. He was coming here over the pretense that Aaron Rodgers would be his quarterback.
Correct.
Which for every snap last year, besides 4 of them, that was not the case. So I do have high hopes for Lazard. But, I mean, he's not better than Garrett or Mike. Like, at his best, I'm talking about prime Green Bay Packers Lazard. He's not better than Mike or Garrett. We don't know about Corley. Like, so, I mean, he's wide receiver 3 at best. At best. But, again, I don't think he is garbage. I don't think he's a waste. I think if he, cleans up his technique, he'll be an asset in the run game. And, again, he is 6'5". That is something that no – other pass catcher on this team can say at this time. Maybe Yeboah. I'm not sure about Yeboah's height, but
he's
everybody else is
he's not that big. So yeah, it would be Lazard to himself. Even Mike, I think, is like he's a little shorter than that. But I think what you said is appropriate. So I'm willing to move my Lazard field goal post here. I think he will be a factor this year because, again, I'm still scared about the Mike Williams thing. That thing still bothers me a bit. Of a long way to recover from the ACL, which would mean Lazard bumps up a spot. And especially if you have the construct of Garrett can play inside out, but even if he couldn't, you think of the 3, if Mike Williams is somewhat compromised to start the season, it's Lazard, it's Garrett Wilson, and Corley. That's like the triplets that are running. Plus, I think X is going to get some action in the slot too. We'll kind of see how they kind of figure that. But man, I think Lazard is going to be a factor. And we'll see. I just had a conversation on my radio show earlier today. Shout out to Ty Dunn of Go Long and formerly a Bleacher Report. He talked about, and he used to cover Aaron Rodgers back in his Packers days, that he talked about Aaron Rodgers having a chip on his shoulder as a different player. Like at the end of his time in Green Bay, he got a little complacent. He's kind of checked out is how Ty was describing him. But he was re-energized when he came here to the Jets, re-found his love for the game and all these other things. And when you saw him have chips, like the COVID MVPs that he calls them, that he had, where he's fired up, Alan Lazard has been trashed as bad publicly as any free agent I can remember after this year. And obviously it was affecting him. You could hear it in the media interviews. He got into a couple of scrums with reporters and they were asking him questions. I don't know if that's going to help him, but it can't hurt, I would imagine. If I had all that crap, I would love, if I'm Lazard, to dunk on other people saying, see, that $44 million check, like I'm not just some bum. I'm not some scrub. Like me and Aaron, we had a thing. So I think he will be motivated, which, like I said, I think can only help. So I think he will be a factor because injuries are going to happen and he's going to find his way on the field. And that old chemistry with Aaron Rodgers is something else you can't necessarily put a price tag on, which should only help. So let's throw a little Lazard action in there. Let me jump over real quick to defense. I just want to squeeze this one in. This is a clip that just came out today from the Jets. It's Will McDonald jumping off the line and kind of working through a bag. And I tweeted about it, but it reminded me of the preseason. He has this game, Will McDonald, against the Carolina Panthers, where he unloads a spin move, Dwight Freeney-esque, and all of us go, oh. Now, that's a preseason star, Woody. You may not understand that with the dictionary and stuff. That's the definition of a preseason star. He balled out in the preseason where all of us are like, okay, let's all these people that were making fun of the pick, who's laughing now? Chuckles. Will McDonald's looking pretty spicy, ends up not getting the reps. He only ended up having like 3 sacks in his rookie season, so he didn't see it. He's a guy that, especially with JFM moved on from, all those reps available, boy, could Will McDonald be the breakout that, like, again, everyone was making fun of the pick. A lot of people making fun of the pick this offseason. You have Hassan Reddick, you have Jermaine Johnson, you have waves coming, you have Quinnen Williams, of course, and a bunch of these young cats, Javon Kinlaw, some of the UDFAs. Can Will McDonald come in and get double-digit sacks, baby? All of a sudden pop in there for one of those big, sexy numbers. Jets playing with more leads. You got the Will McDonald that brings a little zig to the zag of some of the other players on the roster, a different skill set. Could we see that, Woody? Are you buying the Will McDonald had a farm E-I-E-I-O sack palooza happening for old Willie?
I might have to go with E-I-E-I no. Preseason start. I don't even know. You really do need a dictionary. We do need to find a Boy Green meets Woody dictionary.
Okay.
Because he was not the star of.
You didn't see that spin move? You didn't see that wash cycle against Carolina?
I did actually. That was one of the few games that I watched from start to finish of the preseason because I was focused. That was actually the day my daughter was born, so I was literally in the hospital looking.
Priorities, pal. Priorities. Okay.
Yeah, Jets. So I was watching the game. This is not a hate for Will. I do hate the pick. I hate the pick, but that has nothing to do with him. The man, the very old man that was drafted at age 24. I think he will be good. I think Clemens is a candidate to take a lot of the JFM role, and I do think Will is going to be good. So let me make this perfectly clear. I think you probably will be able to make a Will McDonald highlight reel from 2024 clips. I think that's possible. I just don't think it will amount to 10 sacks. 10. That's a lot. That's a number that the New York Jets have not. How many times have the New York Jets reached that number in the last 10 years? Right. So I don't
look
think
at that spin move. Oh, disgusting. We have some clips playing on the screen here. Look at old Will McDonald in this nasty spin move in the left tackle. Oh, hit him with it. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's give Boy Green some time to.
Yeah, there you go. Very nice. Michael Nania, my boy from Jets X Factor. Look at these wonderful clips. Look at that power. You're telling me you can't get a little chutzpah here, huh? Yeah, buy the hype, pal. Buy the hype.
Oh, well, that little break gave me time to read some of these comments, and I just got to shout out Dewey Nation, making me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah, part of the Board Green Super Fan Club. We appreciate you. The extra support on YouTube. Yeah, Woody's hair looking silky fresh as usual. Paul's beard looking like I could take a nap in it, like always. That's right. All comfy over here.
Yes, you got to make room for Will McDonald.
Yeah, so you're not buying the hype. So you think Will McDonald's just a bust? Okay.
No. What? I literally did you even listen? Does those headphones work? Do they work?
No. Sometimes it's kind of like a Charlie Brown parent. It's not womp 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 womp, and then I just yell to argue. Yeah.
Feel you. Well, for the commenters, they know that yes, you can probably get a highlight reel out of Will McDonald this year, but 10 sacks is a lot of sacks. Maybe 5, maybe 6, but I think it'll be
boo.
What do you mean, boo?
He's
He's a rotational. What are you talking about? Hassan Riddick is getting over 10 sacks. Jermaine Johnson
Okay.
could probably get over 10 sacks. We don't
Is
know.
there a quota on how many people can get over 10 sacks?
Yes. What do you know? I just said how many people on the Jets have had 10 sacks in the last, how many? Quentin Williams is going to keep. So, so this is another one of those. It's the exact same concept as the Tyler Conklin touchdown. How many sacks will the New York Jets get as a defense? And then you go down the line. Will McDonald's not in the top 3. I'm willing to bet anything on that.
Ooh,
so,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we have Hassan. We have Quentin. Who's the other one then?
Jermaine Johnson. What are you talking? Yo, don't you dare disrespect this man.
Let me just tell you this. Okay. Let me tell you this. Okay. The Jets had 48 sacks last year as a team. That was 7th best in the NFL. And they did that with teams rushing against them for the 3rd most attempts. Long story short, the Jets didn't play with a lot of leads, so they didn't have a lot of pass rushing opportunities. Despite that, they were top 7 in the league. So that means if I'm doing the math, beep, boop, bop, we're going from 48 to, I'd say, comfortably 60. I'm giving another 12 sacks of pass rush opportunities. Maybe the number's even higher than that, but I'll give them a plus 12 on that for all the opportunities that they'll have. Plus 12 sacks. Where are they going? Oh, Will McDonald. Here you go. I'm just saying.
So you think Will McDonald's getting 12 sacks? That's the most outrageous.
No. I said
throw out your calculator.
No.
Second of all,
yeah, okay, go ahead.
The JFM this JFM snaps, they're being divvied up. They're not. It's not an even swap to Will McDonald. Will McDonald doesn't even play inside. There's gonna be some.
He played inside at Iowa State.
When did he play inside in the NFL? What are you talking?
We don't have enough reps. We don't have enough reps to tell you. We don't know.
Oh, but what is Google telling us? Oh, let's see.
Here we go.
So we'll say 5 to 7 snaps for your boy Will.
5 to 7, not enough. I decline your offer, banker. I will increase the offer. He's getting 10.5. So remember this on May 9th, and I will take when he opens up the season with 3 sacks, I'm going to be like, Wudi, I will give you one opportunity to apologize and kiss my feet. That's what I will tell you.
I won't. And then when he finishes the season with 6, you're gonna have to. I don't even need my feet kissed. You can just wear a dunce cap for a full week or something.
Okay, so we got 2 quickies to get to here. So Tyrod Taylor with some bomb highlight. Garrett Wilson X. He threw a big one to X. Obviously, for those who have not seen Tyrod Taylor, they should from the division. He was in Buffalo a bunch of years. Obviously, he was with the Giants last year. He has a rocket launcher attached to his arm. And while he, historically speaking, if you had to write up a profile on Tyrod Taylor, he's more conservative than this crazy bomb artist. Like, he has very low interception rates throughout his entire career because he just operates an offense. He doesn't take a lot of risks, but he has a massive arm. And the Jets were showing that in the preseason highlights. I actually, for the hype on Tyrod, the thing I want to ask you is this. How confident do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 if Tyrod Taylor has to step in for the Jets? 10, they can still go to the Super Bowl, and 1, they're going to get the number 1 pick. Where do they stand on the scale of confidence if Tyrod Taylor has to step in for the Jets, whether it's for a handful of games or for the season or what have you? What's your confidence level on Tyrod Taylor as QB2?
8.
And I'm similar, man. I'm very high on Tyrod. I think he can, again, I don't have any glorious thoughts about him competing for the MVP. But you look at this roster and how everything's set up, boy, Tyrod Taylor is going to do just dandy as far as I'm concerned with this team and construct.
This is the best team, in my opinion, that he's been a part of. Maybe not necessarily, because he was in a situation where he had Keenan Allen. But I'm saying
the Chargers team, right? Yeah.
If you combine everything, the running back, the wide receivers, my glorious tight ends, and the offensive line, I think this is the best situation that Tyrod would be entering. We haven't seen the physical deterioration from him, but his mind is only sharper. So I really, really do like the idea of Tyrod coming in. For a couple games, I wouldn't even lose any sleep if, God forbid we lost our beloved Aaron for another season. I would also believe that the playoffs are still on the table. I think that was the big thing was if Rodgers goes down again, like you cannot be in a situation where the same thing happens twice in a row. So when they got Tyrod, I was like, all right, I think it's going to be different. And with Fashanu, it's a similar concept because if Tyron Smith went down and now we're in the same situation, I'm like, all right, I do think they need more, on the interior, but from a quarterback standpoint, I have faith in Tyrod Taylor. Your boy RG3 was sitting in this rectangle saying similar things that he has faith in what he called, his words, one of the higher quality backups in this football league.
Yeah, he is, and again, I like him a lot, and I think the thing I just want to say here on this topic is that every injury isn't season ending. That there is a chance that Tyrod is going to step in for a handful of games this year. I don't know, 2.5 is the over/under number set for Tyrod, and in a season in which every win matters, the divisional race, the playoff race, all of it. You need a quarterback that can step in. We're not throwing a grenade in the game going, geez, Zach Wilson, well, I guess we're going 0-2. Like, you have Tyrod, so you're going to have a fighting chance with the defense. Okay, I guess the defense is going to have to step up. Okay, Breece Hall might have to get a few more rushing attempts this week. Whatever the plan is on a week-to-week basis, I think that's a part that I feel incredibly excited about. But starting with all that positive, we have to end negative or sad, Wudi. This was breaking news right before we jumped on. Leon Washington, the longtime Jet great, he is no longer a part of the coaching staff. Brian Costello said he wasn't fired, but his contract was not renewed back in January. So old Leon Washington is not coming back. And I guess because he was a lower level coach and we didn't really pay attention, like that's why the news is coming out now. Cause like, it's not like there was practices over these bunch of months or situations where we would have seen Leon. I just got to say, I love Leon. I just want to give him a shout out on this show. He was awesome. He follows me on Twitter. He's a really cool guy. And I just want to praise him for his intelligence. I reshared the clip to Connie, but there was this play in the Bills game, like, I don't know, 16 years ago, super long ago, where a kickoff was about to go out of bounds, and Leon stepped out of bounds and was reaching for the ball. And people were like, what the hell is he doing? You could hear the broadcaster. What is Leon doing? And then all of a sudden, Leon's explaining to the ref, that's a flag. I'm out of bounds, which means the ball is out of bounds. You have to throw a flag. The ref goes, he's right, flag. And then it just like they were saying, oh wow, Mike Westhoff, what a genius. And I just want to say, like, Leon was one of the smartest football players ever. So I shout out to Leon. This sucks. It was cool to see a legacy player come back home, especially how things ended. He played a couple of seasons for the Jets, and then he breaks his leg in the middle of one of our awesome runs. The Jets end up trading him the following year because they drafted Joe McKnight. We're like, Joe McKnight, what did we need him for? We got Leon. And moments later, we hear he gets traded to Seattle. We're like, geez. So God rest in soul to Joe McKnight. But also for Leon, like, his career changes forever. He ends up going to Seattle. Career ends, but they ends up coming back as a coach. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Leon. I saw from Brian Costello of the New York Post that he's not coming back. I freaking love Leon. One of my favorite Jets of all time, running back, special teamer, will do it all, man. It was cool to have him on the sideline for when we did. It sucks that that's no longer going to be the case.
Yeah, completely agree, which are two words you very rarely hear me say after Boy Green speaks, but that is exactly what I'm saying, because I got nothing but love for Leon and, for the coaching staff. Right, I believe special teams, which Brant Boyer's domain. If that's what I trust Boyer. That's one of the few coaches that I can trust. So if that's how he wants to operate, then fine. It is what it is. If he was working under Hackett, then we might have to put us on a UFC card or something like that. But how it is, it's fine. Something we'll have to accept.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We combed through a bunch of Jets practice storylines, videos, player breakouts on Tyler Conklin, his videos from earlier, Alan Lazard, his stuff, Jason Brownlee. We're able to go through a bunch of guys. So in case you guys are just joining us, you can always rewatch the show and feel free to check it out. We're reacting to all the storylines and insider nuggets and everything, all the takeaways that were coming out of Jets practice. So I hope you guys get a chance.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah, not just Alan Lazard. Although, how could we not possibly do 54 minutes on Alan Lazard? I don't know how that didn't happen, but plenty on Lazard, but all the other ones as well. So again, you guys can rewatch a video as always on youtube.com/boygreen25 to the 300 plus people that are now in the room live right now. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:00 for an extra show. Plus I'm live every morning at 7:30 for Boy Green Daily. Wudi, another great conversation. You were mostly wrong during it, but I appreciate you trying. A for effort, pal.
I mean, the truth will be told. It will be seen. All right. So you can have everybody, right? Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but we'll see. This season, I know there'll be so much excitement, and I think something we can all agree on. You, me, all y'all can all agree that we just cannot wait for week 1. Oh my Lord. And of course, next week we'll find out who it is. Who's on the docket? Who is getting that smackdown in week 1? Can't wait to find out, and then can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we'll do some Tuesday preview stuff for the schedule of guessing and speculating what more it could be. We have a fun little topic for that. Plus Thursday, we should already know the schedule so we can do some reactionary stuff as well. We'll do a live show as well for the schedule probably that night, and then I'll also be doing something for Boy Green Daily that next morning. So content overload, baby, everywhere. But we appreciate you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on the channel. Take care.